Hello. I hope it works immediately today. We never know. Until I hear a couple of you, I hear, and I don't hear you. Until I see a couple of you writing in the chat, I will stay curious. Let's see. It says 0 viewers, so maybe it did not work again, which would be very disappointing, of course. Let's see. What YouTube says. Excellent. Thank you. Daniel, I guess. Toseikatsu. 4 people, excellent. Yeah. So today something new here. You can see the number of people here. So it's working. I originally also had something, a donation goal here on this side, for the drone, but I think it doesn't work with super chats, so that essentially makes it not work. So I need to find something different. Live with Daniel. Daniel and live. I see. So I hope you all had a great week. Mine was rather good. Tuesday, so we had Golden Week this week, which means the first 3 days of the week were holidays, national holidays. However, we don't do that in my company, so I had to work, but still I took Tuesday off, and I went to a town close to here called Obaste, and they have rice terraces there, so I wanted to see that. And it was interesting. Of course, I shot a video, and also a couple of other things, so hopefully it will be out by next week or so. I'm looking forward to it. It was really fun. I hope it will also be, how much I enjoyed it, hopefully will also translate to the video. And other than that, well, work, as I said. Yesterday, for the first time since Corona started, we had a nomikai. So nomikai is, so nomu is drink and kai is a meeting. So drinking meeting. And this was online, of course. And that was interesting and fun also. So it kind of worked, and we will probably do it again. Yeah, so that was my week. Well, how was your week? And how are you doing at all? And thank you for being here. Daniel Tosekatsu, Aminox, Alfie, John. Yeah, thank you for being here. And the others. Bit too much work while my wife, teacher, had Golden Week for Aminox. I see. Yeah, for me, my wife doesn't work. She takes care of the kids, but she went to her mom with the kids during the day because I'm not available, and that it's easier for her. Thank you for joining this live stream. Without you, it wouldn't happen. Hi, Danny. Hey, good to have you here. Same as always, busy home office week. Yeah, same for me, essentially. Hey, Bulba. Good to have you here. Hey. Where's the name coming from, Hebulba? Because I don't have any connection. I think I read it here for the first time in the live stream. Not today, the last times. Do you get the Golden Week holidays at some other time? Yeah, I can take them freely. So I could take them during Golden Week or any other day. So replacement holidays. And since Golden Week is so busy, usually I don't ever take them during Golden Week. By the way, I'm really happy that today it worked. So today I'm not streaming directly from YouTube, but from a different app, and that's why we have the thing here, this one. And I could also add other gadgets like share my screen or things like that. Not that it's interesting, but I could. This week I purchased a t-shirt because I like slim fit things. You know, when you're slim, why not make it slim fit? And I purchased online on Amazon because I don't want to pay too much, and I want slim fit, which, for example, many cheaper stores don't have that. And I purchased one in L. That's usually the size I have in Japan, but this one is so small. It's like an S or XS, S to XS maybe in Europe. And that's why I bought another one in 2XL. And that's kind of okay. So I feel like big now. Probably a modification from a name of a Star Wars character. I've used it so long that I can't exactly remember. Okay. Yeah, exactly. That's what that's my only association. So Sebulba from the Sand Planet. What was that? Forgot the name. But I thought it was a name happening in your country, common in your country. What is the app you're using for streaming? I'm using now Streamlabs OBS. So I think OBS is kind of a standard thing. There's also an open source software. And this one is by some company, I think. Sapporo won a rise in COVID cases after Golden Week, so that's the price of all that traveling. Yeah, obviously, of course. I did not know, by the way, until somebody told me this week that with the lockdown now, restaurants are not allowed, but recommended not to hand out alcohol. So you can go to a restaurant or a bar, but you get a soft drink or something. And they also have to close at 8, so you go early, at 6 or so, and you can't drink. And then one izakaya close to a friend's house, they say, okay, we still open the Golden Week. We don't give you alcohol, but you can bring your own. It's like, guys, come on. It's like gray zone or something. And it's really not so, like hidoi is what we say in Japanese, maybe. Like, why do you think, is that a rule? Why do you invite people to bring alcohol anyway? I'd be okay with that. I never drink alcohol anyway. Excellent. Is there a curfew in Japan as of right now? 1 second. So it's not a curfew. I think it's not possible legally. But there is a state of emergency in some areas like Tokyo and Osaka, Kyoto, Hyogo prefectures. And that means they have a couple of very strong recommendations, such as close the restaurants by 8, don't give out alcohol and things like that. And I think also like no more than 50% or so of the people should be in the office, of the capacity. Previously it was 30, and I'm not sure if they changed it. What is the logic of not serving alcohol? I don't know, maybe people get less careful or so, or like closer, or drink too much, and like without mask on or something. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the logic is. I mean, but when I was in Tokyo the last time, I certainly felt that in the evening, I saw lots of people sitting outside or inside and so on, very close, drinking and having fun and so on. And obviously that's when someone has corona, it's rather easy to have it spread. I have learned to appreciate the life in the countryside. Yeah, me too. Especially, that was one of the reasons why we moved here. So because for those who don't know, we lived in Yokohama before. That's rather where we were in the area we lived. It was rather tight, lots of people, dense, but we went to Nagano here for 3 months after Corona had started, and then we came back to Yokohama and it was like, yeah, it's kind of not so great now. And thankfully I could then move here from my work also. And that's what we did. And so far was a good decision, definitely. Who knows how long it will go on, right? Bringing your own alcohol to a place that has an alcohol serving license actually illegal here. I see. I don't know if it's actually... Yeah, I mean, it seems not to be illegal in Japan. I don't know though. In Germany, it's definitely... You will get kicked out or so. Or they tell you don't do that. Or you have to pay or something. In Germany, there's a curfew. Yeah, I know. What is it like from 9? Does it depend on the state, or is it everywhere from like 9 p.m. or so? No government lockdown in Japan. Government cannot fine people or companies for breaking recommendations, but can publicly shame them, which for Japanese can seem worse. Exactly. That's what they do. So I think during the first or second or so state of emergency, a couple of pachinko places did not confirm. So they just kept open. Maybe they are already have a kind of shady image, so they don't care so much. But yeah, certainly. I mean, image is a big thing, right? If you are responsible for essentially prolonging Corona, that's not good marketing. So it kind of, these strong recommendations are usually followed, and also like in the beginning, maybe you remember, Japan was, I think, the first country that closed schools, and it was rather abrupt and just a recommendation. The prime minister doesn't have the power, but he made this very strong recommendation, and essentially everybody followed. As far as I know, it's federal right now. The times change according to the states. I see. Yeah, I'm from Bavaria, so that's in south. And I think it was 9, not sure what it's now. Yeah, tough. Yeah. But at least the vaccination progress is much better in Germany than here. I think Germany should be around 30% for the first times. One time or more, or 32 even. And here it's maybe 2.3, the last time I looked it was 2 point something this week. So let's say Japan has still a lot of room. More light beer tonight. Yes. Who knows if it's vodka or water? Yeah, because I had the nomikai with my colleagues yesterday, online, so no alcohol for the next weeks or so. Or Japan seems slow in that regard. Yeah, certainly it's slower, unfortunately. So I don't know. I didn't follow exactly why and the progress so slow, where the mistakes were made, or why they are maybe didn't think it's important, or I mean, certainly there's like it needs to be approved, a vaccination in Japan. That if I remember correctly, might have been one of the reasons. But yeah, well, takes time. But of course, Japan is still doing rather well compared to other countries. Especially India is of course terrible right now. So much for that. The mandatory Corona discussion. It's actually surprising, the protections on personal freedom that are in the Japanese constitution. The government has much less power over the population than many Western governments. Yes. Are there any vaccination centers in Nagano City now? I don't know if there are centers specifically or if you have to go to a hospital or doctor or somewhere, because I'm not the target group right now. So my mother-in-law, who's elderly, right, she could get it, I think, and another family member is a teacher, she could also get it. I don't know if she did. So I'm I don't know. My wife and I have a trip planned to Japan for November. Oh, nice. What do you feel with the current state of things? Is the likelihood of that happening? We are from the USA. All speculation, I know. Yeah, exactly. So all speculation, obviously. I don't know. So personally, I would like to share my plans, right? I would like to go to Germany in December, and I think it may work. And it's kind of close to November. I think Japan will, what was it, from July or so, they would have vaccination for the more general public. But I don't know if that will be sufficient to have, like, how much do they need for like 70+%. So might work, might not work. That's that's the very precise answer I can give you. Yeah. But I mean, if it would be safe, and then it would be certainly, I think, welcome of you coming here, because obviously Japan is like struggling with no tourists and so on. This industry is actually quite significant. I'm doing fine, doing well, Ashen. I hope you too. The grapevine whispers about a reopening in October. Aha, the grapevine. Excellent. But I mean, it also whispered about April before and so on, right? So we never know. We were actually thinking of traveling to either the UK or Germany if we can't go to Japan. I see, says Jared. As Europe seems to be opening sooner and we have been vaccinated. My wife's family is from Frankfurt. Ah, I see. Yeah, nice. If it works and if it's safe, why not? Cases are going down in Germany, I think, so far, currently. Vaccination is going up, so could work. I think Germany is planning from September or so to have enough vaccines, so that may work as an alternative. Jared Ward. So where are you from? From US, maybe? How long do you think Japan will deal with the pandemic? That's hard to say. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. I think it depends a lot on... So a lot of people, I think, are skeptical about the vaccination. You know, not a lot of studies, not a lot of experience. And it depends on things like that and mutations and all that. So, you know, if it may persist and stay like a flu, and then we have to deal with it for quite some time. But hopefully, we will be able to vaccinate like everybody, and then everything is fine. Who knows? Who knows? Okay, Jared is from the US. I see. Yeah, I mean, especially if you haven't been to Europe yet, it's probably pretty nice. I mean, I haven't been to the US actually, so I can't really compare. And of course, the US is super large, so I also can't compare that. But I imagine, I mean, I like going to Europe as a tourist, so I imagine you do as well. Hey, Ruturaj Karat. I'm doing well, thank you. Hope you do fine as well. I think any reopening for tourism would depend greatly on if countries can agree on an international standard for vaccination passport. Yeah, for example. And then probably also some risks, like where you're coming from and if you potentially bring some mutations. Like for Japan, right now they have, if you come here, you have to quarantine, and if you come from a country like Germany that has some mutations, like the British one, or of course South Africa or so, then you come here, you take a test, then you go to a hotel room that will be assigned to you, like 8 square meters, no air condition. You get the food on your room for 3 days. Then you do another test, and if it's negative, then you can go and do the remainder of the 14 days, so 11 days at your home of the quarantine. Depending on where you're coming from, if it's like a high-risk area or not, you are treated differently. And the same, I think, it's for Germany. So if I came from Japan right now, I would not have to quarantine because it's not a high-risk area. But then if I came back here, I would have to. And depending if you have to go to the office or so, then you need like two extra weeks of holiday just for that. That may make it not feasible. I mean, if you can go to either country, which I could go to Germany and here, right? I was quite surprised about Japan's stance against vaccinations, but it's not an anti-vax thing, right? They wanted to test it more on their own. Yeah, that's my feeling as well. Like, more like being a little bit afraid of the unknown and side effects and so on. And no experience, not little studies and all that. I hear that the pandemic will be over at the beginning of next year, at least for the EU and US. But with the slow vaccination rate in Japan, it might take a little longer. Yes, I mean, hopefully. And then, of course, also in EU and US, if there's like a big anti-vaccination movement or so, that might also slow it down or make it unrealistic even. Just curious, is there any demand for junior front-end devs there? I was thinking of honing my JavaScript skills and try applying there after I graduate. Maybe, not sure. I mean, generally tech is wanted. Of course, if you have experience, even better, right? Because you have a wider range of positions you can apply for, and you have more to offer. If you start here then and you don't speak Japanese, then of course you're rather limited. So there are a couple of places that offer that hire internationally, have an English-speaking environment, and then kind of educate you in their company. But if you want to go into a Japanese smaller company, then a solid level of Japanese is required. That's all I can say. So for example, in my department, we do in some cases, but usually we don't. We only hire mid-careers, so I can't really say a lot more. Which would you prefer, iPhone or Android? I have an Android phone, and I had an Android phone since 2009. I was thinking about getting an iPhone mini though, this year. Last year. Was last year. And I didn't. Yeah, but sometimes, especially if I want like a smartwatch, I have an Android watch. Yeah, it's not great. So I thought it would be nice to have an Apple Watch. But then I need an iPhone, and that gets super pricey. And for work, I have an iPhone and an iPad and so on. So I use it. But still, it's like some patterns and so on I think are just not good. But that's probably because I'm so used to Android. So Android. In Germany, we have a lot of conspiracy theorists making us look bad. Yeah, but this happens here as well, and probably anywhere. Like kind of loud minority or so. We can never know when the pandemic will end. The longer it lasts, the more and worse mutations will develop. That's why a fast rollout is of utmost importance. Yes, but not here, right? Not gonna happen here. It's kind of, I think maybe Almenox, you and I have we are in the good position that we are in the countryside. So like social distance and so on is really realistic here. But if you're in Tokyo and you have to go to the office, what do you want to do on the train? Sometimes, right? It's unavoidable. So yeah, we're in a lucky position probably. It seems that the work culture or work life in Japan improved considerably. Maybe it's not on par with Germany's, but still an improvement. Yeah, I think so too. I mean, more and more laws are passed to regulate overwork and so on. There's still like black companies that don't care or abuse their employees. And yeah, that's what I can say. I mean, still compared to Germany or so, it's nothing. So you still have not a lot of holidays, and you still can take lots of overtime, and which is not allowed in Germany, and so on. But still, I think it's improving, and especially for me, it's kind of okay. I mean, I also have less holiday than Germany, but other than that, I think it's a good company, a good environment. My brother is a doctor, and there's promising news in regards to the mutation. Oh, nice. The vaccine is effective against all variants at this point, as there is enough of the original structure of the virus. I see, that's good to hear. I think, as I heard, it's also reducing the what's the word? The effect of the virus if you catch it, you know? But maybe that's not true. I don't know. Can an IT fresher from India get a job easily in Japan? I think not easily, but you can get it. I know a lot actually. We have half a country that believes the coronavirus is a hoax. So maybe put the brakes on for a trip to the USA until we get our heads on straight. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. If then they're like, yeah, I don't want to vaccinate because that's just Bill Gates. He wants to infect me with something, and that's gonna be hard. So there needs to be some kind of marketing campaign or some way to convince the people. Is it possible to work in Japan without a college degree? As a foreigner, you mean? There are ways, yeah, certainly, but it's much harder. Depends on your experience and so on. So there are a couple of ways to. So work visa is one category, which implies already that you can work with that visa, and there are a couple of different areas there. And if you fall into one of these areas, you can apply. And usually, so you need, of course, somebody hiring you. Without that, you don't get that at all. And usually, they then say you need to be skilled. So you need something to show that you have the level of skill that you don't take a Japanese man's job, right? Something like that. And that can be done either by a college degree or by a lot of experience. And then usually they say 10 years, could also be less depending on how important your company is or how well they are with the authorities. And then you can apply. That's the one way. Another way is to get a business manager visa. That means you have your own business. You need an investment of at least roughly $50,000, so 5 million yen, and business plan and things like that. And as far as I remember, you also have to have the same requirements. You have to have experience in the field and so on. So that's another thing. And then you can come as a student or something, or a cultural specialities, was it like that, visa. So it means either studying here, for example, language or university, or studying a specific aspect of the Japanese culture, martial arts, for example. And then you can also apply for a special permit to work up to 28 hours per week. That's another way. Then, of course, there's the working holiday visa for some countries, for many countries, not for the US, unfortunately, but for many, which allows you to come here for certain time. For many, it's usually 1 year. For some, it's like half a year, and then can extend another half year. And this visa allows you to work here or do nothing, which is nice. Can travel, do maybe some lower qualification jobs, waiting and waitress, waitering, wait serving, things like that, and explore the country. Or make contacts, if you want to come here again, maybe find a job already, or build your business, your customer base. That's another way. And then the last way, there are a couple of more, but let me go into two more. One is spouse visa. That means you marry a Japanese national and then you apply for a visa here. I mean, don't do that just for the visa, right? Obviously. And another one is the special highly skilled professional visa. This is a point system. And if you have a university degree, that also gives you a lot of... So you have to have 70 points at least in the system to come here, in order to be able to come here. And if you have a university degree, then that counts like, I think, bachelor 15 points or so, and a master 20 or something like that. But it's not required. You can also leave that out and still get this. And this then depends on things like your salary, your work experience, your age. The younger, the better. If you have patents, if you have been at a worldwide a renowned university, which then wouldn't apply, of course. Things like that. So that's, I think, all I can come up with at the moment. Japan actually had opened its borders for some traveling, with certain quarantine restrictions on the people entering, but they ignored the restrictions and spread the mutation, so again closed. Yeah, I remember there was something. I think also there was a business traveler thing, like when you lived here and left the country for less than a week or so and came back, then you wouldn't have to quarantine. Something like that. But yeah, obviously, I mean, I understand the travelers. If you come here and then you stay in the hotel for 2 weeks and you go back or so, that's not fun. But of course, obviously, Japan needs to say, come on, guys, if you don't follow the rules, then we block you. Totally makes sense. How long do you see yourself living in Japan? Has the pandemic changed that? I'm not sure right now. So currently I like it a lot, so I can... and also, so I need to look at what I want to do in my life and where I can do that better. And currently I can do it better here. So that's that. But how long is hard to say. Has the pandemic changed that? Yes, I think so. So previously, when I lived in Tokyo and I got up every day at 5, then went to the office at 6, arrived at 7, worked until maybe 4, 5, 6 or so, arrived at home at 5, 6, 7 or so, and then a little bit kids, and then sleep and repeat. It was not so great, right? So it wasn't the most fulfilling, but now since I'm here, I don't have to commute anymore. I have much more space, both the house and the outside and so on. It's become much more manageable and much more fun here. So it definitely had an impact. Can an IT fresher, and also in Germany would not be fun at all right now, I think, in comparison. Can an IT fresher get a job in Japan? Yeah. So you can certainly do that. And of course, if you speak Japanese, it's better. And you can also come as a Japanese language student. Have to contact the school and probably talk to them about visa and so on. I think language school is not cheap here, depending on where you are, of course. So countryside probably cheaper, but still. And then, of course, you have to study the language hardcore, but that's probably a good thing. I'm doing fine, thank you, Silhouette FG. I hope you are doing fine as well. Could a technical school degree be enough? I don't know what it is, where it falls. So what usually people say is a 4-year college degree, so not a community college. So university, essentially. Bachelor is fine, so also 3.5 years or so. Is it possible to get a job in software development without knowing much Japanese? Which JP level will you recommend as a minimum? Yeah, that's possible. And if you apply like that, so if you want to go in JLPT, then of course, I mean two or one usually. I think many Japanese don't know what it means, JLPT level, but the foreigners will know in the company, and HR probably. And I mean, certainly, I also don't know what it means. I mean, I know there's a certain level of competence in reading and so on, but communication, it doesn't say anything. Yeah, 2 or 1. Probably 1, but obviously 1 gives more confidence. But you can certainly get a job without knowing Japanese. Okay, so Alminox says to Jared, as I understand it, the vaccines are designed to identify the COVID-19 virus from the membrane protein, which is the same across all the currently known mutated nucleocapsid and or viral RNA. Now we know that. Thank you. Which programming language do you recommend for developing websites in Japan? So for backend, at least when a couple of years ago, Ruby was quite popular. Front-end, JavaScript, of course. Backend probably also JavaScript these days. Or maybe Go. What's your current JLPT level? I don't have a JLPT level. I have heard that language students and pay school fees by doing part-time jobs. How far is this true? I can imagine. But I don't know how far it is feasible, actually, depending on, I mean, if you pay $3,000 a month for language school and you work 28 hours with $10 per hour, that doesn't add up. If you also want to, pay your rent, eat, maybe go outside, maybe not right now, but, go out, travel. React or just plain JavaScript? React, probably. Oh, Vue.js maybe. I think more React than Vue. Yeah, of course, scholarship is also a good thing. Yeah, if you get something like that. Did you complete Genki 1 too? Yes, I did. Many years ago. I have actually been contacted by one company that offer like support for people that want to go to language school in Japan. Haven't decided if I want to get back to them positively or not. They have a school not too far from here, one Shinkansen station from here, so maybe I could visit that or so. But maybe not. But this could potentially give more insight. Can you name some company that will offer programming jobs without knowing Japanese? Rakuten, Line, Indeed, Google, Apple, Fast Retailing. That's what comes to mind, I think. Is crypto a thing in Japan? Yeah, I always get crypto advertisements on YouTube. For example, I've been studying for IT for 4 years. Would that be enough to get a specified skilled worker visa? Studying, you mean in the university? And I totally can say. So there's a lot of things that go into this visa, and one of the points is your experience in the field, how long you've worked there. But I think it starts from 7. Or, I forgot. Probably if you Google that, then you can download an Excel sheet and then you can see. Grammar is easy, building vocabulary is harder. Learning to read the kanji is hardest. Yeah, I feel kanji takes just so long, and it's not hard in itself. Like, it's just characters like reading, but it's so many, and so the continuously doing that, and it's kind of the baseline for you to get really content from life. What I mean by that is immersion. So when I did English, I feel like school education gave me like the base vocabulary, the base grammar, and then I could essentially consume media, books, websites, and so on, and by that expand my knowledge in all directions. And in Japanese, of course, this baseline is much higher with the kanji. You can't read. I mean, you can read some, but it's not like you can read on a baby, maybe first graders level or so when you just know kana. But yeah. What was your next step after Genki? Tobira, or did you stop learning by books? I bought what was that intermediate guide thing, which is like the unofficial next Genki. But I never. I mean, I opened it, but I never worked with that. I opened it after some time, and then I knew most of the things already. So I stopped learning by books essentially. But I don't think Genki is bad. It's not great. It's probably one of the better book series out there, and it's okay to get a good foundation. I wouldn't spend too much time on it. I think 3 months a book is fine. What is that? Has 23 chapters, maybe a chapter a week. And you should be able to invest that much time that you can do 1 chapter a week, I think. If you want to be serious and get somewhere. Would just getting a bachelor degree in IT and not yet having a job experience be a plausible way to get a job as a programmer without much Japanese? Yes, I think so. And for some, I mean, this kind of shrinks the number of companies you can apply to, but it's possible. What platform do Japanese use for crypto? Oh, I don't know. I used Kraken early 2018, but then they left the Japanese market because too many regulations or so. Have you ever faced racism in Japan? Let me think, maybe, but I can't really say if that is it racism or just something else. For example, today I went with the train, and it was like kind of a couple of people standing, but nobody sitting right next to me. So I told my wife later, and she's like, "Yeah, probably because you're foreigner or something." Like, "Oh yeah, that's racism." And no, not racism, but like you look like you smell. I'm like, yeah, so that's racism. No, like that, and so on. But actually, it was not. It was like next to me, and seat was empty, and other seats were also empty, and people were standing. I think it's more like they had their group, and if not everybody can sit, they just stand. So it's kind of not a good example. But so there are situations that could be, but probably not. And situations which are kind of cultural, maybe when people say, "Oh, there's a foreigner," which happens a lot in the countryside. It's not necessarily racism, but it's not racism, but it's surprise or like not being used to that, or people staring and so on. Right, happens, and often, especially kids, call me American. Like, "Oh, there's an American." No, that happens a couple of times. It's very funny for my wife, but yeah, I don't care. I mean, it's not mean-spirited or so. If anyone learning Japanese, I recommend you Anki and the Refold method. Search up Matt vs. Japan on YouTube, but it's a bit hardcore. Yeah, I made a video on that. Not Refold, but the previous one. MIA. And I also liked it. I mean, as I said in English, I found the basic of to have like some base level good before going into the immersion. But if you want to do like Refold, probably like just learn the kanji and then maybe a very basic set of vocabulary and start going. That's up to you, of course. What are your plans, TMR? What means TMR? TMR. p.m. or I don't know. That's discrimination. Yeah, like I said, it's not just me. It's just, as I said, not mean-spirited. I'm using Japanese from Zero series. After that, I wanted to start with Genki and maybe take the first JPT test then. Yeah, I mean, depends on how much time you have or to invest. If you even spend a couple of hours a day with Japanese from Zero, you might as well start Genki immediately, I think. I bought Japanese from Zero in Germany, but I didn't bring it here, so I don't actually know the contents anymore. I remember it starts like progressive, right? So you learn, I think, hiragana in the first book and katakana in the second, and so on. I think that's just not. That's too slow, in my eyes. So I think it's more like a casual learner's book. So if you're really serious, I would just get like remembering the kana or so from James Hasek. Remember the hiragana and katakana. Takes like 3 hours each. So it's totally, that's what I did. And then go into Genki. Genki, as the first 2 chapters are not without kana, and then it immediately starts, I think. And I'm a big proponent of never using Romaji, Western characters, for Japanese, because then you start pronouncing things the way you would in your native language more, I think. It's definitely, which will then harm you like your whole Japanese learner's career or the couple of years or so. And for the JPT, it also depends on what you want to achieve. If it motivates you to have this kind of goal and you want to learn towards it, then please do it. But if you want to get a job, then just skip the first 3. Because they're not worth anything in that regard. There are just too many, way too specific counters. Yeah, that's true, like bread loaves and so on. But yeah, sometimes I ask Japanese, like, okay, what was the counter for newspapers again? They don't know, or less than half know. What are current trends in Japanese software development? Is Ruby relevant because of its Japanese origin or because of legacy software stacks? Because Ruby seems to be getting less and less relevant with time. I don't know why it's popular. I was surprised to see it so popular here. Like everybody's Ruby, Ruby, Ruby. It's like, why? So I don't know what the current trends are in that regard. But I guess, I mean, it's all going to JavaScript, kind of. TypeScript, JavaScript. Yeah. And then some, React probably. Tomorrow, I see. What are your plans for tomorrow? Nothing yet. I think in the morning from 6 a.m., can you believe it? There's some, like this neighborhood cleans up what's that? Rivers? Not really rivers. So Nagano is in a valley. And depending on the season, there may be a typhoon or maybe a lot of melting water coming from the mountains. So there are lots of small, what do you call that? Where the water runs, not potential streams. And they're open, mostly. So next to the roads, always like, if you go too much to the left or right, then you drop in with your car. It's super dangerous. Like this big or so, perfect for a tire to fall in. And then we clean up this area thing. Probably takes an hour or so. That's tomorrow morning, and after that, no idea. But I think it's supposed to be warm, like 20 plus degrees Celsius. Let me see. 24. So, good day to be outside. So I guess I will go to a playground with my kids at some point. Progressive, and it helps me to find my pace while not blowing up my mind with too many kana at the start. That's also a good thing. I think what many, or at least people do is they give themselves too much. Like when they say, okay, I do it like the refold and so on, and they give me a full input and all that, and then take too much new stuff. And it's getting, at least for me, that's what my experience was. So being like having some entity like this in this case hold you back a little bit, like, take your time and do it properly. That's good, I think. Better than rushing it too much. Why you chose Japan to end up, like in my case, I'm choosing Japan because of its culture and advanced technology. I chose my wife and she's Japanese. That's all. So I had no plans to live here. Without her, I wouldn't be here. Japanese from zero is a great approach if Japanese is your first foreign language or if you need a slower, more explained approach. But it is much too slow for most. Yeah, I mean, what's nice is that George Trombley, the author, also has a big YouTube channel, so you can get explanations there. So it's React, JavaScript on front end, and Ruby as back end. Yeah, and I guess in this environment, then the back end would be also JavaScript. JavaScript, Go, maybe some use Rust. What else do we have? PHP, of course, also happens sometimes. So basically, web dev is where the jobs are at. It's like no country for C and C++ programmers. Pun intended. I am not sure. I think C, C++. I see them more embedded, so automotive, like Toyota, Nissan, and so on. Probably they have a room for that. And of course, Java is of course always for back end, front end, like Android and back end, whatever, Kotlin. Oh, thank you, Aminox, for the Drone Beer Fund. Thank you so much. Again, I don't remember exactly how much 89 DKK is. I don't know even where DKK are coming from, but I think it's like 800 yen or so. So thank you very much for the Drone Beer Fund. Yes. Like, let me quickly see if that changed anything. So I mentioned before I have this widget here, which I disabled, which is the drone goal, because yeah, it doesn't change with the super chat, unfortunately. Are Japanese IT companies more open to working remote now after COVID? I think so. I feel so. A couple of companies closed their offices, some of the offices, and then now they don't even have enough seats for all their members. For example, Line closed their office in Shinjuku. And that means there needs to be necessarily some home, even after Corona, some work from home. How's your vegetable garden doing? Good, good. More and more are like starting to pop out. My kids are super happy. And yeah, that's nice. And yeah, of course it will take time. We still have a couple of tomatoes and eggplants that are not, and basil that haven't shown up. So hopefully they work out as well at some point. Hi Ninja Monkey, good to have you here. I hope everything is well in Gibraltar. About 1,500 yen, 1,550 yen. Wow, that's a lot. Thank you so much for your generosity. That's something I can tell my wife. Like after every stream, she's like, "How much this time?" And I'm like, "Nothing," or 500 yen, and she's like, "Tch." But now I can already say, look, look at this above minimum wage payment I got thanks to Aminox. Just want to say thank you for this lovely live session. Please do live sessions regularly. Ronnie, I do. So every Saturday, since last week I think, or week before, every Saturday at 9 p.m. I do a live stream now. Are there parental leaves in Japan? Yes, up to 1 year. In the first 6 months you get 67%, 2/3 of your base payment. That means it doesn't include bonus or any other special, what is that, 401k or so payments. But from that, whatever your baseline is, you get 2/3 for this first 6 months, and after that you get half. And after 1 year, there are some special cases where you can extend even more. like essentially something bad happened in your family. That's the special cases. So they exist. I took a month, not too much. Should have taken more in hindsight, but exist. And of course, it also depends on your company. And but generally, if your company cares about public image and this may be a bigger, more well-known company, then they will accept it, because if they don't, and you publish that, make it public, then they are in real trouble, right? But still, maybe sometimes if you talk to a Japanese person, they're like, what? So long? But if you're in an environment anyway where there are a lot of foreigners, then it's just the way it is. Actually, I told my wife I can take a year, and should I do that? And after that, should I continue or should I do something else? What do you think? And she's like, that's not enough money. You work again after a month or so. Like, okay. What drone are you hoping to get? I want the Mavic Mini, DJI Mini thing. You know what it's called? 2. So it's a small drone that's in Japan it's up to 199 grams, internationally 249. That means right now at least I can fly it also in the area where I am, or in like a more densely populated city-like area. And the downside of that is, because international is 249 grams, and Japan's 199, and they cut this 50 grams on the battery. So international, you have 31 minutes of flight time, and here in Japan like 10 or so, which is quite tough, I hear. So, however, I could just buy the international battery and put it in there. And then when I'm not in an area where a normal drone cannot fly, I can use that and get more out of it. So, for example, I mentioned before, on Tuesday I was in an area where there are rice terraces, and having a drone for that would be perfect. So, seeing the whole thing, the whole extent of that. Or tonight we had like a orange, purple, what's that? Dusk, when the sun goes down. And that would also be nice. Have the drone up and then see the houses, the mountains, and the sky, things like that. And it's also very small, so I can pack it, put it in my backpack. That's nice. Aminox for the Keep Wife Happy Fund, approximately 3,700 yen. Wow, thank you so much. That's amazing. So now we are already at more than 5,000 yen, which is a record, I think. Thank you very much. By the way, last time I think we did 3,500 yen and Google gave me 1,800. So depending on how you pay and so on. For example, I think if you pay with in-app purchases or so, then Google, the Play Store takes, or Apple, depending on which platform, takes 30% already. And then YouTube takes its cut and so on. And then what I get is less, much less. Ricardo Furtado, good to have you here. Parental leave in Japan is pretty good, although Japanese people usually don't take parental leave due to company pressure. Yes, that summarizes well. But if you're like me and don't care so much, then you do it anyway. So I know a couple of people in my department that took the full year. Hagen Kunoi Knudsen. Just started watching your videos today and see you're having a live stream. Not sure if you do these often, but if not, cool coincidence. Hey, yeah, good to have you here. So I do them now, since last week, every Saturday. By the way, next week will be special because it will be a birthday live stream. So, actually my birthday is on Friday, but it's, almost. Thursday is my wedding anniversary, and Friday is my birthday. Aminox is a generous man. Yes, amazing. Thank you so much. When is the next video coming? I'm not sure. So I shot one on Tuesday. I already have like the rough edit, and I saw I need to reshoot some scenes, which I did today. So I went there again, shot some scenes. I wasn't sure. So originally I wanted to have a foot bath in the end, but when I went there because of Golden Week, it was closed. So no water in the bath, and then I was just like, God damn it. Okay, I want to do that, couldn't, that's it, see you. And then I had in the videos like, yeah, it doesn't fit from the balance and so on. So today I went again to another foot bath out of revenge and shot that. So now it's, I think, better for the balance of the video. And hopefully I can get it out next week. Hopefully. Maybe Saturday. But then we have two things on Saturday, the live stream and in the evening and the video in the morning. So not sure. But maybe Saturday or Thursday. I say Saturday because I think the only Japan YouTuber that is big, the only big Japan YouTuber that regularly uploads every week does it Saturday morning. And I say Thursday because that's where I used to, when I had weekly upload in the evening. And it was kind of okay. Which cities are generally good for IT jobs, excluding Tokyo? I think Fukuoka, maybe, not sure, maybe Osaka. Kyoto has Nintendo, so that could be something. I'm not sure, but I think Fukuoka, at least Line has one subsidiary in Fukuoka, an office. They pay the same, but of course cost of living is lower, so that could be interesting. And I think Fukuoka also has a strong startup culture. So maybe Fukuoka, but maybe also Osaka, just because it's so big. I've been wanting to move to Japan for a long time. From your experience, is it likely that I would be able to land a job with an international company such as FireEye without speaking Japanese in Japan? It's possible. I don't know if it's likely. Depends, of course, on a lot, like your qualifications and so on. Is it possible to contribute to the drone fund using PayPal? What is the best method for you so you don't lose too much in commission, etc.? I think another YouTuber I want to meet, but I haven't yet. He has Tipeee, if you know that. It's something like, they take much less, I think, but I haven't set that up. Maybe I will do it. I promise. Any hint about the next video? Rice terraces. What else? Food, rice terrace, castle, footbath. That's the big 4 topics. In 10 minutes or more, I think. maybe. Yeah, I forgot the one area, but that will be a surprise now. Actually, two things I forgot. Yeah. When it's it's kind of interesting to be in this area. So Nagano City is a Shinkansen station. It has been since '98. But the other many of the smaller cities on the way, they kind of lose out on all the people because they now take the Shinkansen. It's fast, and they don't go through them anymore. And there are a lot of kind of the big hotels from the economic boom, concrete buildings and so on. And they either are now like in decline or already, abandoned. But the smaller ones that have like an onsen, traditional style, ryokan and so on, they are still there and they are prospering. And then sometimes you see like the concrete building, and then the entrance is like the standards, the more Japanese style and so on, with the gate and so on, and maybe some koi fish swimming around in some pond and so on. It's very interesting, also a little sad. And of course, then sometimes they build on mountains. What a stupid idea. So even in Nagano City, this was before. So there's this mountain. Wait, where is it? I have a flyer somewhere. Wait a second. There's this mountain here, which is not too far from here and also not too high. And they had a tourist resort there, built in 61, and then in 64 they built a new road, and then it became just like a checkpoint and nobody came there anymore. And in 75 it was closed. So not even then, but it's like, it feels like some miscommunication or something, and they just invested lots of money. And did you know that, Andy? Good to have you here, by the way. It's Jizokuyama. It's right behind Zenkoji. I want to climb that. It's just, I think it's like 700, 800 meters of altitude, and the longest route is like 5 kilometers. So should be fine. Should be fine to make a video because it takes so long when you take a video, right? Great little hike, excellent. Yeah, maybe I should pick your brain after this one, if it's actually worth it to film or not. Do you have a bachelor's or master's degree in computer science? Does a master help in Japan, or is a bachelor already sufficient? I have a bachelor's degree. I started a master and was almost done, but then my company became too successful and I stopped essentially. And I have actually not a clean computer science, I have computer science and economics. I think you may want to look into streamlabs.com. Yes, that's what I'm using right now. They apparently have a streaming software with integrated tip functionality where you would get a much higher percentage. Ah, I see. Yeah, maybe I just need to do that. That's probably the donation goal you can have there here, which I disable now. Really cool old abandoned castle too, but the castle is like this trees, right? Essentially, you kind of see what I've seen from the pictures when I haven't been there. There's some pretty cool stuff. I had planned on doing a video about it actually a long time ago, but it doesn't really fit my channel style now, so I'd be happy to tell you about what I was thinking. But on Andy, there's just one video on the Tokini vlog channel, so that would be one. Perfect. But yeah, happy to hear. I will be in contact. You can go all around at the castle. Okay, that's good. And I think for something like that, a castle or so, of course, a drone would be pretty nice. Have you also been to the other castle? You know, the concrete one? Or are we talking about different castles here? Probably. So there's apparently there was a castle or so, which I saw there's like, just like you can see here was like this and like that fortification or whatever. And then there's the other one concrete thing where it's like that looks like a castle, but it's like one of these concrete rebuilding things. I think there was like some butterfly museum inside or so I read somewhere. Okay, now we're getting into almost one-on-one conversations, so probably need to change topics. But this may be a potential topic. I got a lot of respect for people who got a master's. I'm already dead inside 2 years into my bachelor's degree. Oh no. I hope you, if it's so bad, maybe change. It's never too late. Andy's Genki videos are so helpful. Thanks, man. There's the ancient one, and then there's like an old one that was made into a butterfly museum. I'm talking about the butterfly. Okay. Yeah, and Andy will start, when was that? Mid-May, soon-ish, with the next step after Genki, like the... That's nice. Like the intermediate version, I think. What Japanese content are you consuming recently? Actually, I don't know if it counts. I'm just not binging, but watching Giri Haji on Netflix, which is like half Japanese, I would say. So it's like a Japanese detective goes to London and he still speaks a lot of Japanese, and I think it's not dubbed, at least not in my version. So that's my Japanese content. Sushi or ramen, which one do you like more? Sushi. But it depends. I think for sushi, I'm okay to have cheap sushi, but I'm not so okay to have cheap ramen. Cheap sushi when it's in Japan, not when it's like somewhere where it's bad already, even if you pay a lot. I'm interested in what made you come to Japan. I only started watching your videos today, so this is stuff that may have been covered several times already. Yes, so actually it's pretty easy. So I met a Japanese woman and now I'm here. So now you can make up the rest in your head. Yes, Quartet on May 23rd. Excellent. So if you are ready, so we have been talking about Genki before and learning Japanese and so on, and what can be after Genki. And I bought. So Andy did a review about like 3 different Tobira, I think, and the intermediate approach to Japan. What was that? Integrated approach to intermediate Japanese and Quartet. And I had the integrated approach, and I didn't use it. But Quartet is a much more modern, much newer book series. And Andy will go into that and explain the grammar from May 23rd. So something to look forward to. What about Tobira? Will you consider it after Genki 2? Hama, Kura, or Kappa? So Kurazushi, for me, I think. Kappa, we are kind of between Kappa and Akura. So the locations, but the distance are same. But yeah, Kura. I don't know if I have ever been to Hama. What was the other one? Forgot. Yeah, but for example, when I did the day in my life in Japan, workday thing video, then I went to Kappa Sushi. Watch Alice in Borderland. It's a Japanese thriller series available on Netflix. Okay, I will keep an eye out. Usually I don't like thrillers. Giri Haji is like categorized as a thriller, but I don't know. It's kind of... I feel kind of sad for the people there, but that's it. In this environment and so on, but yeah. I will take a look. That makes sense, yes. So very easy with Flash. How did you meet your wife? No, that's a longer story. And so I practice Aikido since I started when I was 17. Or next week I turned 34. So same as Andy, by the way. So half my life I've been practicing this, and she also did that. And we met I came here to Japan in 2009 the first time for Aikido. And there was a seminar not too far from here in Nagano Prefecture. And she lived in she didn't live in Nagano, but she lived in Tokyo, went to a university where my teacher was also teaching. And then she came to the seminar for 2 days or so. So that's where I met her. But it was very distant, like, okay, some crazy Japanese girl. And, well, then 4 years later, in 2013, she came to Germany. And then, again, to a seminar for Aikido, same teacher. And then, this was 1 week together in, like, the countryside. And then we got to know each other. And then 2014 I came here again to Nagano. She was living here by then because her parents are living here. Or no, not parents, parent lives here. And then that developed. First it was a very long distance relationship, and then it turned into, like, she came to Germany first for a year, and then we moved here, and now we are still here. That's that story. Quartet covers most of the same content, so probably not going to cover Tobira. Okay, for Andy. And I felt when you went over Quartet, it also covers some areas of Genki again, right? I mean, that I had only the exposure to the book through Andy's video, So since I don't plan to use it, to be honest. Yeah. And yeah, Quartet. But I think even the integrated guide covers some areas of Genki. Quite some even. Did you ever use Memrise for learning Japanese? No, I haven't. Maybe I downloaded once and took a look and so, and then I didn't understand what it brings more than Genki, so more than Anki, so I didn't. And I've never been to Hama. Yeah. It's like, oh my God, what have you done all those years? Onaji Toshi, yes. same birth year as Andy. And Andy has, by the way, same birthday, year and day and month as my best friend, who also starred in one of my videos in 2018. We want a dedicated video about your love life. It seems interesting. Okay, go to my channel, then go to videos, click the search button thing, magnifying glass, and then search, what was that? Why I'm in Japan or something. Then you hear that. Didn't know about Quartet, but good to know. Yeah, I also didn't know until I saw his video. Because it's so new, I think it's not known. As known. You should just make a My Japanese Love Story video because you tell the story every live stream. Yeah, I did. I even did that. So I could just do it here, but then the people leave the live stream. Nobody wants that. So that. Yeah, also even Andy hears it for the first time. And also, like, Andy and I, we live in the same town, same city, but we met only once. Can you believe it? Now I need to add, there's Corona, and has been Corona essentially since we know each other. Memrise also spaced repetition concept for memory reinforcement. Yeah, I know that, but I don't know. But since I already used Anki, like, why would I switch to Memrise? I didn't see the benefit. Corona, yeah. Yeah, actually, so Andy and I, we wanted to make a video together, going to, staying in an igloo here in Nagano prefecture. And we made a date and so on, and I never came back to Andy, so I'm really sorry. And the reason is actually, now I can explain myself. And I went to a webpage and it said reservation for February starting from December or November or whatever. And then December started, nothing happened. Mid of December, nothing happened, and so on and so on. Like, okay. And then I think I switched because I looked the English version, and then Japanese it says something. Either it said something about Corona or it accepted some already reservations or so. But anyway, then yeah, next year, Andy, we will do that. I hope. Yeah, and Andy also didn't come back to me. Yeah. I guess life happened and so on. But I hope we can do something again. Maybe at that mountain. Who knows? Do Japanese companies really keep you indefinitely, or is it an illusion? And so it depends. There are two ways of being hired, I think, at least two ways. One is seishain, which is like a full employee, and that's really hard to get rid of. So it's kind of like that, yeah. And then there's a contract employee. That means usually when you're an English teacher or so, then you get like 1 year contract, and then they may renew or not. Like usually school year ends, and then you will see. And seishain has a couple of, it says that the kanji is already like correct a company member, like that. So it's like it has already a certain meaning, and also if you want a loan or so and you have that, then it's way easier for you, especially if you have a nice company like me that's employing you. And so it's not an illusion, I think. But in IT, it's rather uncommon because the competition for you is so high, so you're so wanted with your skill that most people don't stay longer than like 3-5 years or so, I think. I feel. Looks like Christoph. Hey, yo, good to have you here. Okay, as they expect you to work for them for life. I mean, I must say a friend of mine, he recently quit her company, and I was surprised. Not an IT company, more traditional company. But in IT, I think nobody's expecting that, especially from foreigners. Yes, Andy and I are so close. We have to do something. Yeah. So I've been to Chikuma this week. I want to go to Narayajuku. Andy, if you're into that, it's like it's pretty. You can go there by train from here directly to the town, but it's like almost 3 hours. So we'll have to get up really early, like the last time. But this time we could sleep on the train. So when Andy and I met to make our one video we made together, for those of you who know, I told him, okay, I need to do this really early. So I think we met like 6 a.m. or so at the station, which is maybe not kind of anti-cyclic for Andy. So he was really kind in that regard to me. And he also gave me a melon. How expensive are the phone contracts in Japan? I heard it's hella expensive. Andy answered already, go with a non-contract company, it's cheap, I pay 3,000 yen per month. Yeah, same for me. So it says NTT Docomo for me on my provider thing, but it's like some cheaper thing. I don't know if it's 3,000 or more because I want more. I have like 7 gigabyte and 3. I think for the two of us we pay like 5 or 6,000 yen, which is like $60. What would be an average IT salary in Tokyo? That totally depends, of course. If it's like average beginner, you can probably look at. It depends. Yeah, it's hard to say. I think beginner is not much. It's like $2,000 or so net. And the higher you go in your career, it will be much more. The longer you do it. And depending on the company as well. So international companies are more competitive, I think, when it comes to salary. Amazon, Google, Indeed. If you go there, then certainly you will be in the, including everything, 100K more or more per year, I think. Unlimited data costs me about 10,000 yen per month for Almanox. Unlimited. And I must say, it's not bad with this one. It's not like you have like the cheaper one, the cheaper provider, so you get the slower data. So maybe you do, but it's still fast enough. I mean, for YouTube, watching videos outside or so, no problem. Okay, Andy went there a couple of years ago. Okay, yeah, maybe that. I still have a couple of brochures here. So I went to the station recently, Andy, to the tourist thing and took all the flyers and so on. And I have like here, Nagano. It's mostly quite repetitive, but sometimes there's some interesting things. There's one thing I want to visit one day. There's a cafe way up in a mountain somewhere. It's just reservation. And of course you have to go by car or by a bus, which goes 4 times a day. And what I'm interested is, of course, not the cafe, but why would you do that? So I want to talk to the owner and so on. That's interesting for me. How long have you been streaming on YouTube? Today, for 1 hour and 24 minutes, about. And the first stream I ever did was in 2017. And then I didn't do a stream until last year, summer. That's kind of the history. Do you watch anime? If yes, then which one is your favorite? I haven't watched, so I have some phases. So last time I watched One Piece again until, where was that? After I went to Skypiea. Which is a lot, I feel. For me it takes so long, but then I have enough. Like I watch a lot and then it's like, okay, switch, do something different. Taking too much of my time. But I'm not very knowledgeable in anime. I think the very mainstream classics like Dragon Ball and One Piece, maybe I know a little bit, but then that's it, kind of. But if you have any great recommendation, let me know. $2,000 is gonna be tough to get around in Tokyo. Depends. I mean, you can live cheaply. You don't have to pay so much. I mean, for an apartment, I think there are 3 or 4 factors. One is the age. One is, of course, the size of the apartment. The other is the age. Next is the proximity to the station. And then the type of the building. I think that's the 4. And then if you're okay with like an old building, 20 minutes away from the station, and kind of far away, maybe the station is also a little outside of Shinjuku, so you can get that for like maybe, I don't know, 500-600. Okay, Andy has to leave. Thank you for being here, Andy. My pleasure. Typically, for an international IT company, are there many actual foreign people working there, or is it mostly Japanese people? I can't really say, but international probably. It depends on the department and the area. If they want to like specifically attract Japanese people, it will be Japanese. The ones I know, they have a lot of foreigners. Yeah. My department is probably 60% non-Japanese, I think. Good morning, Good morning, Denning. Good morning, Daniel. Okay. Can you even survive with that amount? I skipped that message. Yeah, I think so. In some way. And that would be a good video. Yeah. I hope so. Kimi no Na wa is my favorite. Yeah, I saw that in the cinema here actually. When was that? I think I was in Germany, came back here, and watched it here with my wife. She watched it for the second time. Was a fan of Ranma 1/2. I have DVD still. Yeah, we had that even in Germany. And I watched like one episode. I would reckon we also have the full edition of Sailor Moon, by the way. And we never watched it. My wife bought it in Germany, then we watched like the first season. And then when the second starts, I'm like, that's the same thing again. They just repeat the first season and like a little different. Why would I watch that? And she watched it, and for me it was like, that's it. I would recommend you watch Mob Psycho 100 and Demon Slayer. I see. Don't watch anime anymore. Okay. Ara. Okay. That's also good. Morimoto-san. How many holidays do you have? I have vacation. So I have the standard plan, which is after 6 months in the company, you get 10 days. Then after 18 months, you get 11, 12, 14. For me, the next time I get them will be in July, and then I get 14 days. Shin-chan is the only anime I still watch. The language is so close to life. Yeah, Shin-chan. Shinosuke. Yes. Yeah, I did watch I think I watched a little bit of Shin-chan, Doraemon, like that, when I was rather new here, to learn a little bit more Japanese. What's in your opinion an absolute no-go factor when looking for a job in Japan where you would decline? That's a little hard to say like definitely. But I would be careful with overwork, of course. Like ask HR. So I had one company where I asked, and then it's like, okay, overwork is included and so on. So overwork included is not a good sign. In IT, especially in IT. No flex time is also not a good sign. Not necessarily, it's kind of okay maybe, but overwork included, not a good sign. Maybe also ask how much overwork people do. Ask what people like and don't like about the company. Your interviewers. Yeah. And I mean, do your research, not just in the interview, but go to Glassdoor or something. web where you get feedback for the company. And if it's bad, then don't go there. I would be I would try to be in a position where you're not dependent on a job, on one particular. So have a couple of offers, and don't rely on having to go to Japan at a certain time, because that puts you in a bad position for negotiations. Any Doraemon fans here? No, maybe not. I mean, my kids like, my older one likes Doraemon. Every now and then we have like books about dinosaurs and insects and flowers and all that, and there's always a DVD included. That's with Doraemon. I hope that the anime named 86 will be as good as the novel. Really good, and covers many currently relevant themes like racism and guys of sci-fi. I see. Recently watched the anime as Silent Voice. Blasted right into my top 3. Oh, nice. Literally started leading. Demon Slayer for sure. Okay. I'm not a huge anime series sort of guy, as I don't have time, but I watched Demon Slayer and now I'm a huge fan. Okay. Off-topic question? No, that's fine. We only do that in the stream. It seems like it's hard to get cough medicine in Japan. I had a cold when I went and had trouble finding something other than those bottles of vitamin C or some Vicks drops. I don't know, actually. I never took something like that in my life, so I have no idea. But for my kids at least, they go to the doctor and they buy it directly there, I think. Or at the pharmacy next to that. I think it's possible. Maybe you would need to go to the doctor and get like a prescription. I literally started learning sign language after watching A Silent Voice. Wow. Oh, interesting. Son of a doctor. Looks like Christoph, who is a son of a doctor, says just recommending buying the strongest alcohol, 50%, and gargle in your throat. Works basically the same. I see. Yes. In Japanese, there's osake wa hyaku yaku no cho. Means like alcohol is better than, or is as good as 100 medicines. So depends, of course, on which medicine, but in this case, maybe it's the same. Just don't give it to your kids in case they swallow it. Yeah. Have you tried snowboarding? No, I haven't. HNO tips and tricks. What are you drinking? I have been drinking water, but now it's all gone. So that's that. I often drink water because I don't consume anything with processed sugar. So it's like water, juices, or beer. Maybe there's sugar inside if there's yeast. If you have a sick, can you get medicine from a pharmacy without visiting a doctor? I don't know. I would guess so, but I don't know. Actually, like I said, I just don't get sick. No, I'm just kidding. But usually, yeah, I'm not a person who goes to the pharmacy a lot. I think I went only for myself. I went only once or so. For almost 5 years I've been here. You have to swallow it too. Like 1.5 shot is okay even for kids. Not 1.5, half a shot. I think it depends how large the shot is as well. Of course, not multiple a day. Any thoughts on Japanese beer culture? You mean drinking or you mean beer in itself? So there are some good beer. Yesterday I had a meeting with my team, like a drinking meeting, and I had a Sapporo Belgium beer, which was the first for me. Probably Alminox. I think we talked about it last weekend already. when I mentioned I bought it. And was good. Was a good beer, solid. I think Sapporo in itself is one of the better brands in Japan. I also purchased last weekend another dark beer from the area here, from Nagano City, Nagano Prefecture. And I had one sip and then I threw it away. So it was pretty bad. So it's a hit and miss for me, but that's generally for me when it goes in the direction of craft beer. Or maybe it's with my upbringing because I'm from southern Germany and then only 3 things we are allowed to put into beer there. And then if there's anything else, I got super confused and I don't like it. Usually. And there's some, just as everywhere, I guess, there's some pretty nice and pretty mediocre and pretty bad beers. Fun fact, sign language is different from country to country based on their unique cultural references. I know because my mother is almost deaf and we traveled a lot earlier in life. Interesting. I love the beers in Japan. Craft beer is great. I feel like I never had a lot of luck with craft beer. Yeah. I mean, it would be like first beer is good, and then I try something on the second, it's always bad. I do water fasting for 5 days. It's Walter Longo's recommendation. He claims it increases health and lifespan. Never heard of him, but yeah. Haven't been, I mean, depends of course also on, I mean, I don't know how your energy levels, how you can maintain them during the 5 days. And then depending on how demanding your everyday life is, maybe it's not realistic. I don't know. Craft beer, okay, back to craft beer. Expensive, 900 yen. But you can also get, especially here, when you're in some region, then like not Tokyo or so, then you can get like the local beer or so in the supermarket sometimes for 200 yen. The German beer I would get in the alcohol store and the liquor store was like 450 for 0.3 liters. Very expensive. But worth it, and now it's gone. I feel like I get sick easily. This is why I ask. I see. It seems like countries outside of the US do medicine a little different. Yeah, I think so. Definitely. I mean, I'm also confused about Japanese pharmacies and how they work and so on. But like, why do I have to sign up for a pharmacy? I just want my medicine. Things like that. Deutsches Bier, German beer better than Japanese beer? I think so. It's cold in Japan and I love minus 4 degrees beer. What I like in Japan is that often they cool the cup, which I've never seen anywhere else. So that's really good. Like summer, it's so hot and humid and so on. Then the evening comes, get a little more chilly, and you sit outside or with the open door in some bar, and cold glass, cold beer. That's when it's really good, even if it's Japanese beer. What is craft beer with 0 alcohol? I think craft, I don't know the definition, but I think it's more like a small, not like a big brewery. That's how I would define it. I think people in the US use a sign language based on French Sign Language. Oh. Okay, RM has to go. See you in the next one. Thank you for being here. Craft beer is basically indie beer. It's more experimental and from smaller breweries. Okay. You need salt and minerals to get more comfortable fast. Cryptocurrency thoughts, Doge, lol. Okay, now should we really get into that? So, when I bought Doge, when was that? Couple of months. When it was like already going up and so on, and I knew, okay, it will go up a little bit more and then it will drop. So I bought it, then it was high, and I sold it for like, I don't know, 70% or so gain. Not much, I had like 50 euros or so, like just let's see. And then I sold it for, I think No, it was more. I sold it at 120 or something. And then I bought again a little bit again. Some time ago, went up, right, and then it fell. And then I bought it. Then it fell more. Then I bought a little more, €150 this time. And now it's up like 120% or so since then. More audio. Let me see where we are. I bought from the first ever paycheck YouTube gave me, I bought Bitcoin. It was not a big check, so don't get overly excited. It's 125% now, so it's a good investment right now, but I don't sell it anytime soon. So I don't like riding waves or so, or having it, because that gives me fear of missing out or so, and then it stresses me out. So I want to buy it, keep it, and then maybe after whatever time when I feel like it's right, then I sell it. That's why I don't use money I need. Like the YouTube money is kind of an optional to, it's not something I need for everyday life, and it's not reliable enough. It's not enough in general. So that's why I could use that. But yeah, so I can buy that, I can invest it. If it goes, it's all gone, or I lose 50%, then yeah, bad luck. I don't know luck, but not so important. And if it goes up, then I don't have to sell immediately. I can just wait for a year or so. What has this chat become? Crypto. Just bought at 7 cents. I bought, yeah, that's great, 7 cents. Now it's at like, what, 70 or so? Tonight, Elon Musk will host a Saturday Night Live, and either it goes up or down, depending on what he does. But of course, having a cryptocurrency or your currency investment be so dependent on what one guy tweets, it's not so great. Then on the other hand, when Trump tweeted, then sometimes the whole economy went down. And kept it, I've made 5x so far. Nice. Okay, totally not hooked on that crypto craze, but hearing a lot of it recently. Let's not turn this into Wall Street bets. I buy Bitcoin every day. Yeah. Maybe started based on the French sign language, but has since evolved into a separate, unique language. I see. Why not stocks and index funds and then we are done with it? Yeah, that's because that's also good. I mean, I'm not saying I don't do that, but it's a principle thing. It's not like I said, I don't need to make the money and then rely on that. Also, it's more like supporting a certain idea, and that's it. And that's why I can keep it there, because it's not about short-term gains for me. Despite of what I said before, that I just bought and sold like within a day. And yeah. What are your thoughts of the cheap houses that are on sale in Japan? There are offerings for vacation houses for as little as $100K to $4K. Of course, most are in the countryside. Yeah, they are most likely cheap for a reason. They are certainly cheap for a reason. So some things need to be renovated, or maybe you have to tear them down completely and so on, and they are pretty far from everything else, on everybody else left and so on. So there are certainly reasons, but depends on what you want for your life that works or not. ASL even has regional dialects. Interesting. Greetings from Minami Azabu, from Facer339. Hey, I hope you're doing well. Minami Azabu, let me see. Yeah, I think when I was in Tokyo last time, I stayed in the upper hotel, I think, in Minami Azabu. From a small amount of cash, I didn't put in a lot. Yeah, that's probably most people did that. The AdSense CPM is much higher for financial videos, just saying, Johannes. Yeah, I know. But yeah, crypto in Germany is a weird thing. Anyway, after 600 euros of profit, you have to tax it like your income. 60% goes to the finance office. But if you keep it for a year, yeah, right. So in Germany, crypto is treated not like, it's not a currency, it's not an official currency, so it's treated like art essentially. So you have this 600 euros or so, but if you keep it for longer than a year and sell it then it's tax free, which is good. Pretty nice, I think. So I have a lot of, because I have my IT background zone, I have a lot of friends that invested a lot in Bitcoin. I don't know how much exactly, but they certainly did well for themselves, I think. And they are also like this, they're convinced of the thing and that's why they do it, so they don't sell. But if they would, they could do it like for free. Most instant ramens have sugar or starch inside. Soba has none of that. Are there any other ramen products with no added sugar? I don't know. I don't eat instant ramen. So I like ramen if it's good, but instant ramen I don't think is good. And upper hotels just don't read the literature they put out. Yeah, I don't. After a year it's tax free, exactly. Some soba is 100% buckwheat as well, so it's gluten free in that case. Yes, gluten. But I think it's really hard to make to like have it stay as a noodle and so on if it's just buckwheat. Apparently that's why they put also wheat in there. Already so long. Maybe slowly we should come to an end. So maybe, as usual, 5 more minutes or so. How do you keep off of added sugar? Where do you shop? I shop in regular supermarkets. I mean, certainly, I'm pretty sure I don't realize sometimes, but usually I just check the bag. And yeah, takes some time sometimes. Like, I want to eat chips. That, no. Oh, thank you, Daniel. Thank you so much. Yet another one, yes. It's like record breaking tonight. Just by Daniel and Aminox. Thank you. I don't recommend upper hotels. They support the right wing. They have books in the room where they deny the Nanking massacre. Oh, I didn't know. Because I never checked that. Then I won't from now on. Leave when you have to. Thanks. Yeah, I don't have to. But talking so much makes my throat dry. It's getting harder. About us. Already 2 hours. Almost 2 hours, yeah. Hey, different games. Good to have you here. We have covered a range of topics. We went from just in the last minutes, anime, sign language, cryptocurrency. Before that, we had like language learning. For drinks, thank you, Daniel. Again, I hope you got it from some point system or so again, and don't have to pay everything cash. And different games, we're already at the end, or unfortunately. So just a couple more minutes, then we close it. But as always, you can just rewatch. I look tired. Maybe. I don't know. I didn't. Maybe because I was outside filming today. Only half a day, but still. Is it always 2 hours? No, not necessarily. But I think it's kind of between 1.5 and 2.5 is the ballpark. Oh, thank you, Dan. Yeah, $2.84 from points. Wow, thank you. Do you have an onsen in your area? Yeah, not super close to me, but Nagano has a lot of hot springs. Also the city. But the closest one is probably a couple of kilometers from here. But I love onsen. When I came here for the first time to Japan, we had a 1 week seminar in Nagano, and it was in a classical like ryokan, which doesn't have a shower on your room. So the only way to clean yourself was onsen, which I think is the only way you need actually. And it's like, because it's onsen, it's not like you take a shower once a day. It's like 3 times a day. So in the morning, maybe you go to the onsen, then you have breakfast, practice. Maybe you go to the onsen after practice, right? Then lunch, practice, onsen. Evening, then you drink and so on. And because it's fun, then you go to the onsen. That's an extreme, but since you have it already. Has Japan rolled out any vaccines yet? Yes. I mean, if 2% is any, then yes. I think it's a little more than 2.8 or something probably, but it's still pretty limited. 2.8 for the first vaccination. Probably if you just Google Corona vaccination Japan, it will just show immediately. So much better than the German Termin. Yes. I think so. Oh, got his vaccine last week. I see. Hope everything is good so far. Damn it, sugar. Get it moving. Okay. All right. 5 grams in your arm. Okay. I see. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So then I will get moving. As I mentioned before a couple of times, we will have the same stream, not the same stream. We will have another stream, same time, next Saturday. And it will be a birthday stream. So I'm looking forward to that and seeing you all then. Okay? So then, thank you all for watching. Japan will find a way finally kill Godzilla before they kill Corona.